Hi, fifth graders. Hopefully, you are enjoying your weekend and staying warm. And you're now viewing a lesson on multiplication. On Thursday and Friday, we started working with fraction multiplication. And at that time, we just multiplied fractions. Today, we're going to be talking about multiplying mixed numbers. So, our learning targets are to be able to multiply fractions, whether they are individual fractions or mixed numbers, a whole number with a fraction. And we'll be using area formulas to solve problems. You'll be doing that in class. You've already learned the formulas for a variety of areas, and you'll just be using that formula to multiply mixed numbers rather than whole numbers. So to begin, this is a little bit of a review. I'd like you to find the answers to these problems. You can pause the video and write your answers on a separate sheet of paper, bring them to class to share. Or you can be writing the answers as I read the problems. The first problem is 1/4 times 3/5. Remember, we learned to multiply numerators, multiply denominators, and always express our answer in simplest form. Second problem, 36, the whole number 36 times 1/6. Then 3/5 times 5/6. And 2/3 times 4/9. Then we also have done quite a bit of work on changing mixed numbers to improper fractions and improper fractions to mixed numbers. So in the first example, 4 and 3/10, I'd like you to make that an improper fraction. And then you've got the improper fraction 34/9, make that a mixed number. So again, you may pause the video to answer those questions. So here is today's lesson, multiplying mixed numbers. So I've got a mixed number written horizontally, 3 3/4 times 2 2/3. Sometimes it helps to write it vertically, so I've rewritten it here in vertical form. You might be familiar with the partial product method of multiplying because you would have talked about it in a previous grade with whole numbers. We can use it with fractions as well, and I can think about this in the distributive property method as well. When I use this partial product method, and I'm thinking about distributive, I'm going to take this fraction 2/3 and I'm going to multiply it by 3/4 and then by 3. So I'm distributing that 2/3 to the 3/4 and to the 3. Then I'm going to multiply the 2 times 3/4 and 2 times 3. So I've distributed that 2 to the fraction and the whole number. My work is over here. If I multiply 2/3 times 3/4, multiplying my numerators, 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 3 is 12. 6/12 can be simplified to 1/2. Then I'm going to multiply 2/3 times 3. Remember, I can make 3 into a fraction by making it with a denominator of 1. 3 over 1 is still 3, but I've made it a fraction. So when I do that, I multiply 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times my numerator or my denominator of 1 is 3. 6 over 3 equals the whole number 2. Then I'm going to multiply 2 times 3/4. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. 6/4 is the same as 1 and 1/2. And then I multiply 2 times 3, which equals 6. Once I have those partial products, I'll need to find the sum of those numbers. So I'll be adding 1/2 plus 2 plus 1/2 plus 6. I know that 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. So 3 3/4 times 2 2/3 equals 10. This slide shows the same number being multiplied, but this time with the renaming method. So I've got two mixed numbers and I'm going to change them into improper fractions. 3 3/4 is the same as 15/4. 2 2/3 is the same as 8/3. Now I have two fractions where I can multiply the numerators, 15 times 8, multiply the denominators, 4 times 3. When I do that, I get an improper fraction. 120 twelfths. And I can change that improper fraction into a whole number or a mixed number by dividing my numerator and denominator. And when I do that, 120 divided by 12 equals 10. So whether I use the partial product method or the renaming as improper fraction method, I come up with the same product, which is 10. So I'm going to use my pen to do another example for you. And this time my problem is 3 and 1/2. I'm going to multiply it by 4 and 2/9. So first I'm going to use the partial product method, and I would need to multiply 2/9 times 1/2, 2/9 times 3. So I'd be distributing 2/9 times 1/2, and that would give me 2/18, which I know is 1/9. Then I'd be multiplying 2/9 times 3. 2/9 times 3, and again I can make that 3 into a fraction. I get 6/9, which can be simplified to 2/3. Then I'm going to multiply 4 times 1/2 and 4 times 3. I'm distributing 4 to 1/2. 4 times 1 is 4, over 2 is the whole number 2. And finally, I multiply 4 times 3. I'll use my dot there for multiplication, which equals 12. And then I would need to find the sum of these numbers. So I'd be adding 12 plus 2, which I know is 14. And then I'd be adding 1/9 plus 2/3. I'd have to find a common denominator. My common denominator would be 9. So I've got 6/9 plus 1/9 is 7/9. So my product is 14 and 7/9. And I've used the partial product method. So I can also use the improper fraction method by changing 3 and 1/2 to 7/2, and 4 and 2/9 to 38 over 9. I'd have to multiply 7 times 38. And when I do that, I get 266. I'd have to multiply 2 times 9 to get 18. And then with this method, I get a large improper fraction. I need to change that to a mixed number, and I do that by dividing 216 by 18, or 266, excuse me, by 18. And I've done my work on another piece of paper. But I get 14 here, and my remainder here is 14/18, which simplifies to 7/9. So I get 14 and 7/9. All right, so you can see that I can use either method. I'm going to end up with the same result. It depends on what method works best for you, whether you like the partial products or whether you like the improper fraction piece. So what I'd like you to do is choose the method that works best for you. Write a multiplication problem that involves mixed numbers. I'd like you to solve it. And then when you come to class Tuesday, be prepared to share your problem and explain your work with a partner. So have a great weekend. Do your practice problems, and you have some practice work in your journal. And then on Tuesday, you'll be working on the skill of multiplying mixed numbers, and you'll also be using it to find the area of some shapes, and the units will be mixed numbers rather than whole numbers. Thanks.